Slow. Streaming around the world.
This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Atom Radio. Oh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
The podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. It does end, by the way. There is good news for you. This podcast will end. Welcome to episode 131 of the best bits of Atom Radio's breakfast show. And this is Mark Denholm with you, guiding you through the next few moments where I've dredged the bottom of the barrel in the hope of coming up with something witty, informative, humorous. You know what I'm saying. Back at school this week after the half-term holidays. Hope that's going well. Hope your first week has gone fine and there's been nobody sent home to isolate. That's all good. Also, steps closer to the next relaxation as well on the 17th of May. In the podcast this week, education goes to pot, lookalikes, predictive text, human nature, signs, and not as in road signs. Also, couldn't not talk about the European Super League. And words that are forgotten, all that and more in the podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Morning, this is Mark Denholm at breakfast, 16 to 8, Monday morning, back to school day today. And I read over the weekend, speaking of back to school, that demands for rigorous standards of written English when doing a degree in England are apparently racist, sexist, and discriminatory. Is this true? Is this genuinely true? I also read that they're thinking of dumbing down in terms of spelling rather than actually teaching people to spell properly. They'll just take something that looks like the word you're trying to spell. Well, that's just wrong, isn't it? Why should you have to dumb down? If people are in education, they're there to be educated, not just accept they're dumbing down. And if you want to do a degree in an English university, then it would stand to reason that you would be able to read and write English.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Asking you this morning about things that you have loaned out to people and haven't got back, or indeed, if you want to be open and honest, things you borrowed from people and you know that you still have and you haven't given back yet. Morning, Mick. Hope you're well. Hope your Monday's going well. Mick says, morning, Marky. I loaned out my strimmer to someone and I totally and utterly forgot I'd loaned it out. Couldn't find it anywhere. So I bought a new one. And the friend that I'd loaned it out to then came round while I was using the strimmer and said, "Oh God, I've still got your strimmer. I must bring it back." In the end, I just told him to keep it because I'd already bought a new one.
Mark Denholm.
Atom Radio, Mark Denholm at breakfast on a Tuesday morning, Tuesday 20th of April it is today, and today is National Lookalike Day, and believe it or not, there is some poor person who is unfortunate enough to apparently look just like me. A friend of mine, but going back maybe 10 years, said to me, "Oh, I saw you in a club at the weekend." You didn't see me, I wasn't in a club at the weekend. Anyway, she went back the next week, she took a picture and she's like, "Look, it looks just like you." And this poor, unfortunate chap looked just like me. Nothing I can do. I mean, it's his watch. Unfortunate for him, but he did look just like me. This poor guy has to go through life looking just like me. I wonder if anyone ever goes up to him and says, "Oh, I saw you XYZ." I wonder if it happens the other way around.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
I had a text yesterday, and I'm going to keep the names out of this because it's two friends. So I'll keep their names out of it. But this text arrived yesterday, and I fully get what the intention was of this text. But obviously, predictive text had got hold of it first before it got from my friend's mind to my phone. And it ended up saying, "Have you got X's member?" Not number, X's member was what it ended up actually saying. Whereas obviously it was supposed to mean, "Have you got X's number?" So therefore my question to you today, and this will bring a smile to Richard's face because I have had texting problems in the past. Usually when I've sent a text while he's on the phone, I must say, and he's going to be saying, now, it's not my fault, you sent it. But anyway, the question today is, have you ever sent or received a text where predictive text or a simple spelling error has changed the entire meaning of your text? Like this text that I got that does say, have you got X's member? Obviously should have been number. There have been other occurrences where predictive text has got the better of me. I'll share those with you.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
I love this from Lisa. Lisa does say, it's quite funny now, but it certainly wasn't at the time. Lisa and her boyfriend broke up last year. And they'd broken up face to face, and they were discussing it thereafter over WhatsApp, where Lisa sent a message to her boyfriend, and it was meant to say, let's be friends. However, in her haste to send it, she typed it and hit send without actually checking what it was that her phone had come up with. And instead of let's be friends, she managed to send to her friend lesbian friends, which then obviously caused him to question whether or not she had totally and utterly changed her persuasion, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. And she does say it's funny looking at it now, but it certainly needed a lot of an explanation last year at the time.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Atom Radio, welcome to Wednesday. This is Mark Denholm at breakfast, online, on mobile, and on your smart speaker, playing the music you want to hear. Travel update on the way for you, then straight back to the tunes as well for your Wednesday. Today we're asking you though, what has happened that has either completely restored your faith in human nature or completely destroyed your faith in human nature? On air at atomradio.co.uk. Also today, a lady called Pauline has been forced to sell her £450,000 rural dream home because she's constantly forced to look at her neighbours having a shower in the new build next door. Well, why not just pull the curtains?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
I am a tiny little bit worried. You know, visions. What are they called? I can't remember the exact word they're called. But you know when premonitions, that's it. Premonitions is the word. Okay. Now, for the last few days, I've had adverts on my Facebook for, well, they're 25 quid, and they are clip-on plastic veneers for your teeth, right? Bet they're rubbish. And I thought, who on earth would use those? And then a crown broke off in my mouth. So I've got an appointment with the dentist tomorrow, okay? A little bit worried about that. Even more so worrying, on Friday, in among my posts was a letter from a funeral home about funeral plans. And then on Monday, in my post was a letter from another funeral home about funeral plans. And yesterday's post also contained a letter about funeral plans. I'm obviously crossing my fingers that that is not a premonition.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Yesterday, Apple launched a new product line. This includes new Macs, new iPad Pro, the most powerful one ever yet. I mean, to be fair, you're hardly going to release one that's less powerful, are you? But there you go. I heard somebody yesterday talking about how if you want to be creative, you have to have an Apple Mac. No, not at all. Not the case. Just that I would clarify that for you, just in case you are wondering. If you're a student thinking, oh, what can I spend my grant on? Get yourself a PC instead. It just does more and it costs less. But I want to pick up on something else that Apple has announced, which will launch on the 30th of April, which will be not tomorrow, but it'll be the Friday after. It's AirTags. These are £29. They're a small round disc that can be attached to anything, and they transmit a Bluetooth signal to an iPad or an iPhone to alert the user of its location, right? Now, they work with anything with a U1 chip or above, so if you have the iPhone 11 or later, then you are in business with this. But obviously, being a Bluetooth signal, it only works if you put it on something that you tend to lose a lot at home, such as keys, television control, something like that. So my question to you today would be, for £29, what would you tag in your house that you're always losing so you don't lose it?
Mark Denham on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Morning, 7:19. In the next 30 seconds, you will on average produce 72 million red blood cells, shed 174,000 skin cells, and you'll have had 25 thoughts as well. One of them will be whether or not that is true, I would probably imagine.
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
This is Mark Denham on Atom Radio. It is Friday morning, heading into the weekend, which is the best place to be. Today, 23rd of April, is National Picnic Day today. You can do that outside as long as you don't invite more than 5 people to be there with you. And it's also National Day of Silence Day. Well, you can forget that between now and 10.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
People who sleep less than 5 hours a night are more likely to get a cold than those who sleep 7 or more hours. Think on that.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
This morning, we're talking about the European Super League, which was announced just last Sunday and announced dead in the water last Wednesday, with the British teams, the English teams, pulling out on Monday, Tuesday, and by Wednesday, the whole Super League was starting with 12 teams and was going to be the future of football, ended up with 3 teams, and that's hardly a league. So it lasted Sunday to Wednesday in concept form only, before then flopping. We're asking you about things that in your life have lasted less than the European Super League. And I absolutely love this from Catherine. Morning, Catherine. Thank you so much for your email. She said, we have a group of friends, and one of the friends is always in and out of relationships, and normally they last about 4 to 6 weeks. So a month and a half normally. But then we had to chuckle when early in the morning she announced herself on Facebook as being in a relationship, tagged the man in this relationship and everything. And this was early on in the morning. On the same day, it then announced that she was single. So the relationship, whatever it was, lasted less than a whole 24 hours.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
Morning. Mark Denham at breakfast at 16 to 9. I remember at the time, that song is Meredith Brooks and Bitch. I remember at the time, even though it has the word in the song was never censored, but certain radio stations at the time would call it Meredith Brooks and Nothing in Between. It's not called that at all. I also read the other day that the word Burke, which was used a lot in my youth, when you called someone like a fool, you'd go, oh, you Burke. Anyway, the word Burke is apparently rhyming slang for a quite nasty word, and I wouldn't have spelt it, though, the way it was spelt. In this post I read the other day, claiming it's rhyming slang, it's spelt B-E-R-K. I'd never have written it like that. I'd have written it B-U-R-K, you Burke. But nobody ever uses it anymore, do they? Nobody ever says, oh, you Burke. You just don't hear it anymore, do you? You Burke. Don't hear it. Or watcher. There's another thing that you don't hear anymore either.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
I'm now debating whether the first word I say just after 6 on Monday should be watcher. I'm just debating it. I don't know. It probably won't happen. And the other one, Burke. I would always have spelt it B-U-R-K, you Burke. But I never ever realised it was apparently rhyming slang. I didn't realise that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You can work it out for yourself what the rhyming slang apparently is. I just thought it was a humorous bit of banter. You know, like, oh, you fool. I thought it was like that. But apparently, according to the rhyming slang, it is a somewhat insulting word. So perhaps it's just as well that it has disappeared. Thank you as always for your company. Firstly, Monday to Friday, 6 until 10, when the show is on. And if for some strange reason, and I can't really think of one if I'm honest, but if for some strange reason you can't make it in the morning, you always get the podcast every weekend with the best bits of the show. Although I do feel that perhaps you should come up with a note from a responsible adult if in fact you can't make it to a future show. Happens Monday to Friday, 6 until 10. It's online in the morning, just when you need it, when you wake up.
Atom Radio. Playing the music you want to hear.
atomradio.co.uk, tune in, online radio box, streamer, smart speaker and iTunes radio, 6 until 10, Monday to Friday. I'll see you then. Thank you for checking out the podcast today.
Atom